Not 20,000. 20,000 is a bit ambitious, but I mean, 3 girls a day on average, at least at a minimum. I mean, some days 4, sometimes, whatever, 5, 7, the most was 9.
Dan Bilzerian is one of the most pathetic people on the planet. This guy is so completely fake, it legitimately hurts to watch. Basically, if you don't know this guy, he portrays this really artificial life on social media where he has 1,000 women just surrounding him at all times. And he brags about this a lot, right? He says that they willingly just love to be with him. Like he's the sun and all of these women are a bunch of planets just attracted to his gravitational field because he's so alpha, right? Conveniently leaves out the fact that he pretty much pays for all of their expenses on these really expensive like vacations essentially, and he essentially just pays them to show up with him pretty much everywhere and sleep with him as well, which is an entirely different arrangement, by the way. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about his recent podcast appearance where apparently he has suddenly learned the error of his ways, right? He wants to be monogamous now, and he thinks that that is the best way to love somebody. Dan Bilzerian turns monogamous. Truly not a grift at all. Now, he actually wants to do this after already, apparently, sleeping with over 10,000 women or something. Now, granted, he's probably inflating numbers or something because he actually thinks that that's a brag, and shockingly, a bunch of people actually agree with that. And I don't doubt that the number is quite up there, but I don't think he realizes that he's actually just a degenerate freak. Anyways, this first part starts off with him justifying his previous lifestyle, saying that having thousands of women around is actually easier than just one, and is somehow like less work. This is some brain damage.
If I've got 1 million women around, like I'm not going to get attached to them, and then, it just keeps it like all at arm's length. And also it made the situation where like you just had to put in so much less effort too. Like I found like how much like competition had an impact on how women reacted to you and like the things that you could get away with if there was competition. Like I actually found that when I was only dating 5 girls, their expectations of me were exponentially higher than if I was dating 50 girls. Because if I'm dating 50 girls, they're just like happy to have the time. And the expectation isn't that high, and they know they're completely replaceable. And it's like, it is what it is, and you have fun, and you enjoy the time when you have it, and you don't have much time, so it's like the time is more precious to them, and like the expectation is less. Versus when you're dating like 3 or 5 women, now it's almost like they're jockeying for position of like, who's more important. They're comparing themselves to the other girls. They're like, why is he?
Yeah, dude, I'm sure it's way less effort to actually have 1,000 women around you. That just seems like a blast to me. Now, you know that we have failed as a society when the conversation is about 3 to 5 women versus, I don't know, 100,000, 1 million, apparently. One is not even in the picture here. That ain't even an option. If this was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, this is option G, okay? Option Z. It ain't there. Now, I don't even know what the hell he was talking about. Like, the stuff you can get away with is, like, easy or something. Like, what do you mean? Like, paying girls to sleep with you? That is some real Giga Chad stuff over there. And listen, I know I got like 1% of my audience who's gonna get triggered over this video, okay? Basically, these are the people that think that, oh, if women sleep around, they are hoes, okay? Just horrible people. But if guys sleep around, it's Chad. It's actually cool. Oh, and then they justify it using some red pill logic of like, oh, it's harder to do, so it makes it an achievement. You know what else is harder to do? It's hard to shoot up 50 people as well, but I'm not going to be giving you a prize for that one, you know? The thing is, society is very brain dead, especially the overly media-influenced, westernized people over here. And some young, impressionable guys will obviously look up to man whores such as this guy and think he's some sort of a deity over here, when in reality, this is actually motherless behavior because, you know, the counterpart is fatherless behavior. So I would classify this as motherless because imagine you go up to your mom, right? And you tell her you slept with thousands of women routinely and you use them like objects and you don't even care about them, right? You just derive pleasure from them and then throw them away. She's obviously gonna slap you in the face if, you know, she's a good mom. Now, this next part is really funny. This guy, like, discovers logic.
Hanging out with this girl more, and then, you know, becomes like a little bit of a different dynamic, which is kind of counterintuitive. You'd think that like the better you treated a girl, the more time that you spent with her, the more, you know, the relationship would be better.
Yeah.
But it, you know, I found the opposite to be true. It was like a weird thing. So I guess, I don't know, what I kind of landed on was I think it's like better to have a monogamous relationship. Strange as that is coming from me.
Amazing. This goofball has somehow come to the correct conclusion. I'm not sure about that first part where I'm pretty sure if you treat someone better, I don't know, they'll probably like you better. But Dan's version of treating someone good, I don't know what the hell that means, so I'm not even going to look into that. But the thing is, there's like people actually praising him for this. And there's a group of Dan cockriders pretty much everywhere. They're like, Dan, you're so cool. You lived the dream life. And now after having your party life, you finally know what's important. It's time to settle down. There's like no wrong this guy could ever do to them, right? So a couple things here. First off, that was never a dream life, okay? That is a degenerate fantasy that will never be fulfilling, even if you do manage to pull it off. And in order to pull it off, you probably have to be like Dan here and just pay them, essentially. Second off, most of us already know this, okay? We actually discovered this before getting several STDs and ruining a bunch of girls' lives, essentially. We already know that loving one person and being monogamous is probably, you know, statistically, just better than keeping several women as objects of pleasure, essentially. We know that a relationship is actually special, and sleeping with somebody is not usually a purely physical act. It's a kind of an emotional thing. Now, don't worry, there's plenty of people in the modern world who have somehow severed that connection, at least they think they have, and maybe you can once you, I don't know, man, once you drink enough alcohol, I guess you could probably do that, but I think it's more of a band-aid than a cure to the problem there. But what I don't understand is, how does this dude actually get props for discovering this? This is like if a guy jumped off a cliff and broke his limbs and he's like, I guess I found out, guys, like, I didn't need you to do that. We knew, all right? Holy shit. And I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure he hasn't actually changed at all. This is probably just another grift, him saying whatever he can to get people on his side, because that's kind of how these internet guru type people work.
Because I think you got two choices. You could just like do whatever you want and, you know, be free and like allow the women to be free and just use condoms with all the girls and not care about if they hook up with other guys and it's just like purely sexual and whatever. Or I think you can find a girl that you enjoy spending time with and that you actually trust each other.
Wow.
And I think it's hard to have that. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think it's unlikely to find a woman that is going to be okay with you sleeping with other women that actually cares about you for the right reasons.
Amazing. This is actually amazing. He's acquired a basic understanding of human nature and relationships. This is incredible. This is like a caveman discovering fire. The thing is, what all of these absolute imbeciles don't realize is that when they actually brag about like sleeping with thousands of women, this guy apparently millions over here, right? Is that every single one of those women, right, that agreed to sleep with this degenerate freak is not somebody that a man of value would actually touch with a 10-foot pole, okay? So when you actually brag about getting like 1,000 bodies and, oh, all the girls are so hot, it's not actually impressive at all, because all of those girls are as degenerate as you. So it's nothing to brag about at all. You're picking up the sewer trash, which is like, you can keep it, buddy. Jesus Christ. Listen, people like Dan don't really like hearing this, but a good woman, right? That somebody that's actually worth keeping and worth loving would probably not be handing it out to anybody, and certainly not handing it out for money, okay? Because that probably devalues her. Okay, and I don't know what kind of other damage. You can look it up, baby. You can look it up. Now, I wanted to talk about a central point that really, really frustrates me with some guys or even girls on the internet sometimes, all right? Basically, there's this group of people that automatically assume that any guy would, at any moment's notice, sleep with any hot girl. Okay, and it's not even a question. It's just like, in their mind, it's so 100% certain. They're like, of course, X person would sleep with Y hot girl if they had the chance. So let me explain why they actually assume this. Because they are projecting. They would sleep with absolutely any of these degenerate freaks they got into contact with, and they have absolutely no standards or morals at all. And they would sleep with anybody who's attractive or anybody who gets them hard or whatever the heck, right? And that's why they expect that everybody else will do the exact same. The problem is, not all of us spawned with 99% pee-pee in our brain. Some of us actually have brain cells, actually have functioning brains, and we don't think with our dick, okay? So let me clarify for the lobotomites in the comment section, because I know there's going to be at least like one or two of these guys, okay? No, actual good men who are not internet freaks or brainwashed by current social media will not sleep with any hot girl that offers it up, okay? Because it is not an emotional relationship. It is not an actual connection. And it's not what mommy would have wanted, okay? Some of us actually respect our mothers. Now, the fact of the matter remains, yes, some guys will. In fact, I'm hoping not majority of guys, but from the impression I get on the internet, it seems like majority of guys did, which is sad, will, because their brain is tiny, okay? It's small, and they think with their pee-pee, as I just mentioned. But thing is, just because you have negative self-control and no standards doesn't mean that other people are the same.
Okay with you sleeping with other women that actually cares about you for the right reasons.
Yeah.
It is possible if you find a bisexual, very open, whatever, right? Like, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's very unlikely. And I also think that, like, even if the girl is okay with it, I think that you, like, cause internal damage to her.
Okay, so this jackass just admitted to damaging and ruining thousands of women, basically. Congrats, buddy. I hope your mom is proud. Also, very shocking information, guys. Actually, using women as an object and a tool of pleasure could actually damage her. Who would have thought, guys? It's not like pair bonding actually exists in humans, and that each time you actually sleep with somebody, it's harder and harder to form an emotional connection with a person. It's kind of like people are illiterate on the internet and they just kind of hear what they want to hear, ignoring basic human biology and proven science. Seriously, has nobody looked into the release of oxytocin or any of these hormones and what actually happens when you sleep with somebody? Of course not. Just a bunch of idiots yapping, huh?
The monogamy thing,
Right.
I think people listening probably found that to be very surprising. So just like a little background on that. So like at this point, like how many women have you slept with in your life total?
Thousands.
Like Will Chamberlain levels?
Not 20,000. 20,000 is a bit ambitious, but I mean, like I said, I was having sex with 3 girls a day on average, at least at a minimum. I mean, if I only had sex with 2 girls in a day, that was like, we're having some real off day or something, right?
Yeah.
And some days 4, sometimes, whatever, 5, 7, the most was 9.
Wow.
But
9 women in a day. You you can tell this guy is so proud of this, actually. He's like, yeah, guys, well, actually, I have sex. Actually, did I mention that I'm not a virgin? Actually, 9 is my personal record here. Dude is crazy insecure. And guys will actually think, like a certain portion of guys will actually think this is a brag-worthy thing. They will praise this behavior and give props to internet man whores and actually look up to them and wish to be them. They actually think that women listen to this and are turned on by this. They're like, wow, he's slept with 20,000 women. I'd love to be 1 in 20,000. In fact, that sounds like I'm very special, actually. And they're not wrong, okay? Some women would actually like this, just like, there's some degenerate guys, there's some degenerate girls, and they are attracted to these type of people, but those are not the women you want to attract anyways, okay? They are equally degenerate. And you probably do not want to have them as your partner, unless, of course, you're trying to live an anime harem lifestyle over here in real life. And apparently, how long has he been doing this? I don't know. And now he's realizing it's like a worthless thing.
I don't know. It was just, it didn't really seem to matter that much.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I had a 9-some with like some, or 10-some, I guess, you count yourself, 10-some. I don't know. It was like, I don't know. They're just like waiting, it's just like having sex with one girl, they're just like waiting. I don't know. It's like, and then there's like a lot of obligation for you. It's like, to have sex with 9 girls. I don't know. Like it just, I had this image in my mind when I was growing up of like how awesome this would be. What I landed on was I actually just would rather have sex with one girl and then another girl and whatever. I actually like the more one-on-one than the crazy group thing. You know what I mean? So.
Truly an intellectual titan of the ages here, up there with Albert Einstein and Hawking. And honestly, I don't know why you would ever want to admit any of this on the internet. Like, this is some shit you want to hide under the carpet and make sure that nobody ever finds out, ever. But this dude is out here just bragging about it on a podcast. In fact, that's his entire lifestyle here. Sunny V2 actually made a pretty good video going over the details of his like business and stuff like that. This guy, like, he turned into Andrew Tate basically, and he released like this course to scam a bunch of people. So I assume that's the type of lifestyle he's selling here. But anyways, Dan's a loser essentially. Subscribe for more epic videos. See you guys next time. Bye bye.